a freak mishap, Ranger 3 and its pilot, Captain William Buck Rogers, and returns Buck Rogers to Earth 500 years later.
Before Daniel Haller created television's most unintentionally campy space adventure, Buck Rogers in the 25th Century was dismissed as Star Wars ripoff.
Serial in the 30s with Buster Crabbe as Buck Rogers, and then sort of lay dormant for quite a while.
And discount Battlestar Galactica by critics who missed its accidental brilliance as camp masterpiece.
Switch the manual for firing.
Buck, either evade or fire!
The cast has finally revealed secrets that will transform your understanding of the theatrical film and series.
On Buck Rogers, well, there was a period in between there when I started at 15 and then I went off to model after that in New York. And
that tried to be serious science fiction, but became beloved cult classic precisely because it failed so spectacularly at gravitas while succeeding magnificently at disco-era absurdity. The Star Wars cash grab that nobody wanted. What most fans don't realize is that Buck Rogers existed only because Universal desperately wanted to capitalize on Star Wars mania by reviving any space property they could find. The decision to dust off 1930s pulp hero and thrust him into disco-era production created tonal disaster that oscillated wildly between camp comedy and attempted serious drama without committing fully to either approach. Gil Gerard revealed years later his confusion about what kind of show they were making. The scripts couldn't decide if we were doing comedy or drama. One scene would be serious military strategy, the next would be me making terrible puns while fighting robots. Nobody knew what tone we were aiming for, which created the bizarre tonal whiplash that either charmed or infuriated viewers depending on their tolerance for inconsistency. Producer Glenn A. Larson disclosed his mandate from Universal. The studio said, "Star Wars is making billions. We need space show immediately." They didn't care about quality or coherence, just speed to market. We rushed Buck Rogers into production with scripts that weren't ready, sets that were recycled from other productions, and cast that didn't understand what kind of show they were making. The chaos on screen reflected actual production panic. Aaron Gray noted how the production values betrayed the budget limitations. We were supposed to be depicting 25th century, but the sets looked like 1970s nightclub crossed with shopping mall. The costumes were disco fashion with metallic fabric rather than actual futuristic design. Everything screamed cheap cash grab rather than serious science fiction world building. The aesthetic was disco future that dated immediately. The theatrical film's assembly from TV pilot created additional tonal problems. We filmed it as TV movie, then Universal decided to release it theatrically to compete with Star Wars, disclosed the production team. The theatrical cut added scenes and tried to make it more cinematic, but you could feel the TV production values and pacing. The film felt like exactly what it was, extended TV pilot pretending to be feature film. The Gil Gerard casting that defined accidental camp. Gil Gerard's performance as Buck Rogers wasn't deliberately campy. It was earnest interpretation that accidentally created perfect camp hero. What Gerard revealed about his approach shows how his genuine commitment to playing straight-faced action hero in increasingly absurd situations created unintentional comedy that became the show's defining characteristic and greatest charm. The decision to play Buck as fish out of water who responds to future chaos with 20th century wisecracks was intended seriously. I played Buck as regular guy thrust into bizarre circumstances who copes through humor and confidence, disclosed Gil Gerard. The character was meant to be relatable everyman, but the scripts gave me such ridiculous dialogue and situations that the straight-faced delivery became unintentionally hilarious. I was trying to be Harrison Ford, but the material was closer to Adam West's Batman. Gerard's commitment to delivering terrible puns and anachronistic pop culture references with complete sincerity created cognitive dissonance. Buck would make references to contemporary 1970s culture that nobody in the 25th century would understand, then continue as if nothing was odd about that, noted the writers. Gil played these moments seriously rather than winking at camera, which made the absurdity more pronounced rather than less. The actor's genuine charm and likability prevented the character from becoming annoying despite the material. Gil had natural charisma that made audiences root for Buck even when the scripts were terrible, revealed Aaron Gray. His earnest performance style suggested he believed in the material completely, which made viewers want to believe too. The sincerity in the face of nonsense created the camp appeal. Gerard disclosed his later realization that embracing the camp would have improved his performance. Years later, I understood I should have played it more obviously tongue-in-cheek. But at the time, I was trying to be taken seriously as an action hero. The mismatch between my dramatic commitment and the silly material created the specific flavor of camp that people remember fondly. The Aaron Gray phenomenon that transcended the show. Aaron Gray's Colonel Wilma Deering wasn't just eye candy in tight jumpsuit. She was competent military officer whose costume happened to be painted on. What Gray revealed about portraying serious professional in the most impractical outfit imaginable shows how the character's intelligence and capability fought against the sexploitation costume design. The infamous white spandex uniform with strategic cutouts wasn't practical military gear. That costume was designed to maximize sex appeal rather than suggest actual 25th century military attire, disclosed Aaron Gray. I fought constantly with producers who wanted more revealing costumes and poses. Wilma was supposed to be commanding officer, but they wanted pinup girl. I tried to bring dignity and professionalism to role despite costume that undermined authority. Gray's insistence on playing Wilma as competent officer rather than romantic interest elevated the character beyond the costume. Wilma was smarter and more capable than Buck in most situations. She was voice of reason who kept him from getting killed, revealed the actress. The scripts often had her rescuing Buck rather than vice versa. I made sure she was professional first and romantic interest distant second, which challenged typical female character dynamics in action shows. The costume's impracticality for actual stunts created constant production problems. The spandex had no give and split constantly during action sequences, disclosed the stunt coordinators. Erin couldn't move properly in it, which meant either limiting her physical action or accepting visible costume failures. The costume was designed for standing still and looking attractive rather than performing actual military duties. Gray noted how audience response to Wilma exceeded the show's other elements. People remember Wilma more fondly than Buck or the show itself. The combination of competent professional trapped in exploitation costume created cognitive dissonance that made character memorable. Viewers appreciated that she maintained dignity despite producers' attempts to reduce her to sex object. The Twiki robot that became breakout. Star Twiki. The robot wasn't meant to be the show's most popular character. Felix Silla's physical performance combined with Mel Blanc's voice created accidental breakout star. What the cast revealed about Twiki's evolution shows how the cute sidekick became merchandising phenomenon that overshadowed the actual protagonists while representing everything absurd and charming about the show. The decision to make Twiki comic relief robot rather than serious AI created instant audience connection. Twiki was designed to be cute and marketable to kids, disclosed producers. The diminutive size, the waddling walk, the high-pitched voice, everything was calculated to create toy-friendly character. The calculation worked so well that Twiki merchandise outsold everything else and threatened to make him the actual star. Felix Silla revealed the physical challenge of performing in the Twiki costume. The suit weighed 40 pounds, had minimal visibility, and required me to waddle rather than walk normally. I performed every Twiki scene despite the costume being unbearably hot and restrictive. The physical commitment created the character's distinctive movement that made him memorable rather than just another robot. Mel Blanc's voice work elevated Twiki beyond typical cute robot. Mel brought decades of experience creating memorable character voices, noted the production team. His high-pitched delivery with perfect comic timing made Twiki's catchphrases like "bitty bitty bitty" instantly recognizable. The legendary voice actor treating the role seriously despite the silly material gave Twiki more personality than the human characters sometimes had. The behind-the-scenes conflict when producers tried to replace Mel Blanc's voice demonstrated Twiki's importance. Bob Ilyee briefly voiced Twiki in Season 2, which fans immediately rejected, disclosed Gil Gerard. The audience revolt forced producers to bring Mel Blanc back because Twiki without his original voice wasn't Twiki. That fan uprising proved the robot had become the show's most essential element, the Princess Ardala villainy that stole every scene. Pamela Hensley's Princess Ardala wasn't typical villain. She was scene-stealing seductress whose elaborate costumes and theatrical villainy elevated every episode she appeared in. What Hensley revealed about creating this character shows how embracing the camp and playing to the back row created memorable antagonist who was more entertaining than the heroes. The decision to make Ardala equal parts threatening and seductive created villain who was never boring. Ardala wasn't just evil, she was fabulous, disclosed Pamela Hensley. The costumes were increasingly elaborate and impractical. The dialogue was wonderfully over the top, and I played her as someone who knew exactly how ridiculous everything was and loved it. She was having fun being villain, which made her irresistible to watch. Ardala's obsession with Buck Rogers created sexual tension the show otherwise lacked. Ardala wanted Buck desperately, which added stakes beyond typical hero-villain conflict, noted the writers. The fact that she was genuinely attracted to him while also trying to conquer Earth created complexity. She'd betray her own plans if Buck would join her, which made her unpredictable and dangerous in different way than typical power-hungry villain. The increasingly elaborate costume designs for Ardala became production challenge and fan-favorite element. Each Ardala episode required new costumes that were more spectacular than previous appearances, revealed costume designers. The budget for her wardrobe exceeded the main cast's combined, but the investment paid off because Ardala's visual impact made her episodes feel more special and event-like than standard adventures. Pamela Hensley disclosed that Ardala was more fun to play than heroic roles. Villains get the best lines and most interesting choices. Ardala could be cruel, seductive, vulnerable, and powerful within single scene. That range and freedom made the role endlessly entertaining. I understood that she was secretly the show's best character, despite being antagonist. The cancellation and legacy that proved. Camp Endures Buck Rogers' cancellation after 2 seasons wasn't surprising given declining ratings and exhausted creative team. What the cast revealed about the show's unexpected cult status shows how properties that fail as serious entertainment can succeed as camp classics when audiences embrace rather than fight the absurdity. The show's declining ratings in Season 2 reflected audience fatigue with inconsistent quality and recycled plots. We were making it up as we went along without clear vision or direction, disclosed Gil Gerard. The scripts repeated the same story beats, the effects budget was exhausted, and the creative team was burned out. The cancellation was mercy killing for show that had run out of ideas and money simultaneously. The unexpected rediscovery through reruns and home video created cult following that appreciated the camp aesthetic. People who watched as kids remembered it fondly, while new viewers discovered it as example of delightfully bad 1970s television, noted entertainment historians. The show's failure to be taken seriously as science fiction became its greatest strength as camp entertainment. Audiences learned to love it for all the wrong reasons. Gil Gerard disclosed his evolving relationship with the show's legacy. I was embarrassed by Buck Rogers for years because it represented artistic compromise and critical failure. But seeing how much joy people get from re-watching it and celebrating its absurdity changed my perspective. The show made people happy, which matters more than whether critics respected it. The camp value was valid even if it wasn't what we intended. The show's influence on nostalgic 1970s sci-fi aesthetics proved more significant than its actual quality. Modern shows and films that reference 1970s sci-fi visual style are often channeling Buck Rogers specifically, revealed production designers. The disco future aesthetic, the spandex costumes, the theatrical villainy, these became shorthand for that era's distinctive approach to depicting the future. The show's failures became its lasting contribution to pop culture vocabulary. Watch the show again with appreciation for its magnificent failure to be serious science fiction, its unintentional creation of camp masterpiece, and its preservation of specific moment in television history when disco and space opera collided spectacularly. Notice how every element that should have worked against it became part of its enduring charm. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into shows that failed at their original goals, but succeeded magnificently at something else entirely. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads, and let us know in the comments what your favorite Buck Rogers camp moment is. Beady, beady, beady.